Hello everyone, Jana Liebarger here. I was kind of debating about whether I wanted to do a video on Five Nights at Freddy's or Assassin's Creed Rogue. I know I said I was going to wait to do Rogue until after I was done playing the game, but I decided to probably touch a little bit on that and then do some Five Nights at Freddy's. I haven't quite decided yet, but I'm probably just going to talk about how Rogue is making me feeling so far. I haven't played very far into the game. Shay has already become a Templar at this point where I'm at. I'm actually running around doing some other stuff before I do a different mission for Hatham because I kind of had to rage quit a little bit last night because I was struggling with this particular mission. I gotta see if there's any tricks I can use because it was that tough. Before I go any further, there will be spoilers. So if you haven't played Rogue, this would be a good time for you to exit out of this video, play Rogue, and then come back and watch. But so yeah. Spoiler alert. My impression so far of Rogue is that it's not as clear cut as I was expecting. I knew that with a title like Rogue we were going to see an assassin turned traitor, and now that I was thinking a bit more about it, Hatham doesn't even qualify as a traitor, simply because he may have been raised as an assassin by Edward. But with Edward being killed when Hatham was just a kid, and being raised from then on to be a Templar, I don't really call that a true betrayal of the Brotherhood. Shay, I guess, would be the first traitor ever seen in the video games. Of course, I should probably say that this really only applies to the games that I have played. I really don't have any idea what Liberation is about, and I learned just last night really that Ezio had a DS title that my sister ended up buying. I don't know if I'll actually get around to playing that. But getting back to the subject at hand, Shay's story is kind of throwing a whole lot of gray onto the series, because with mainly Altair, Ezio, and Connor, the games pretty much tell you that the assassins are the good guys while the Templars just want to be control freaks. And you certainly get that in the modern sections of the game with Abstergo. But Rogue is kind of throwing a whole lot of gray, like the assassins really aren't who we were really led to believe, especially with the likes of Ezio. It kind of gives me a bit of a conundrum. I don't want to like Shay because he's a traitor, but on the flip side, I also understand why. But in the Brotherhood's defense, the Colonial Brotherhood's defense, especially with the Lisbon earthquake of 1755, how would the Brotherhood know that removing that piece of Eden from the cathedral in Lisbon would have triggered that earthquake? How would they have known that would happen? I think Shay is sort of in the wrong for turning against the Brotherhood for that reason. He blames himself for something that nobody could have possibly predicted would have happened. I remember saying in one of my previous videos that I had to see if that earthquake actually did happen, and it did. I should know by now, being a huge Assassin's Creed fan, that they're not really going to make any huge events up. They just mold these huge events to fit in the lore of the games. It's historical fiction, so I really should not have doubted that there really was indeed a massive earthquake and a tsunami in Lisbon, Portugal in 1755. But on the flip side, I also noticed that the gangs that seem to be affiliated with the assassins in New York, they seem to be I just don't really know if they really qualify as assassins per se, but if the Colonial Brotherhood was starting to get away from the Creed, particularly about what the Creed says about harming the innocent, it's a bit more understandable that Shay would have been a turncoat. The robe just causes me to have some intense feels because I guess, like any other fans that were kind of not really expecting this, especially if you've played since Assassin's Creed 1, you just really want to cheer on the Brotherhood and think that they could do no wrong because they're the ones that are safeguarding humanity's free will. But Rogue throws a huge wrench in that by presenting us with some very likable Templars, and a good reason for Shay to turn traitor against the Brotherhood in the colonies. I kind of spoiled myself just a little bit. I knew that Haytham Kenway was going to be in this game before I even met him for the first time in game, because I was looking up Shay's profile on the Assassin's Creed wiki. It's kind of interesting that he's going to be pretty involved, and the timing was actually perfect because according to his profile page on the wiki, he became Grand Master of the Templars in 1754, and that means that a full year before the Lisbon incident with Shay, he had become Grand Master of the Templars. And I think Shay first meets him in 1757, I believe, and was formally inducted into the order. Some of the other characters that I really like, I kind of this is actually like my first encounter with Adewale, who I believe was first introduced in Liberation, so it gives me more of a reason to really gun for the Americas collection, because that includes the HD release of that Vita title. Sorry. And I sort of like him a little bit. I just don't know enough about him to really give a good opinion. I'd have to see his interactions with Aveline. Hope is a pretty interesting character. The mission that I'm currently doing involves her, and they try to make her seem like a more I can't think of the word, more of a villain, but we gotta remember that Rogue is through Shay's eyes. This is how he perceived all these characters, so I really do believe that she had high hopes for Shay and the Brotherhood and was genuinely disappointed when he turned. I'm not particularly looking forward to killing her because she is kind of interesting as a character. Liam, I had a bit of a riot when I found out that his last name is O'Brien. If you remember from one of my other videos, my favorite voice actor is Liam O'Brien. I'm thinking, was that deliberate or is that just a coincidence? It would have been funny if it was not a coincidence that they deliberately named him after that particular voice actor. Because what can I say, the guy sounds hot. Gist? I was kind of surprised with his clothing style because he looks like a cowboy in the 1750s. I think he is actually classified as a frontiersman, but just the fact that he has what looks like a cowboy hat on, I'm just thinking, is he trying to tell us that there might be a game that is set during the Wild West, the expansion out west? But I also noticed that one of the outfits that you can unlock for Shay happens to be the same sort of deal, so that would be kind of funny. I did follow up on my own personal tradition with Assassin's Creed. Whenever I play a new game, and it's possible, and it's an option to dye your clothes. I always put my assassins in black. I did it with Ezio. I believe I did it with Connor. I cannot remember. But the first chance I had, and I had enough pounds to spend, I put Shay in the dark assassin outfit because it is indeed black, and it is a bit of a return to his roots as a assassin. I just didn't want to see the Templar cross too much because I already had to deal with that in the Morrigan's cabin. I kind of followed up with my penchant for black with the Morrigan. I don't think I was involved too much with the Aquila from Assassin's Creed 3 enough to change the sail colors if customizing the ship wasn't even an option then. I just don't remember, it's been so long. But definitely with Edward's ship, the Jackdaw, I think I did put black sails on it, and I followed up with the Morrigan, putting black sails on it. I just wish they were a little bit more black, but I guess I just had to consider that they're making these sails look like they're made of the material that they were way back then. Of the other characters that I've seen so far, Colonel Monroe was a pretty interesting and good character. He seemed like a very good man despite being a Templar. Gist I'm really liking because he is pretty bombastic, I guess. Plus his outfit. I love cowboys. I'm a big John Wayne fan. I have my ex to thank for that. But right now I'm kind of on the fence about Shay. I don't want to like him, but at the same time he's kind of endearing himself to me the way that Ezio and Connor have, as well as Altair, whose story I have not played but have watched. I don't think Assassin's Creed 1 ever got a PS3 re-release, so I may never be able to play that one. But just the brief times that I played him in both Brotherhood and Revelations, plus seeing his original story, was enough to endear Altair to me as well, apart from the fact that he was the one who introduced us to this vast world. Time will see if I share the same sort of feelings for Shay as I do for the other assassins that I've played as. I still haven't gotten around to watching Assassin's Creed Unity yet, and I don't know for sure, but I think Arno Dorian's father is supposed to make an appearance in Rogue. If you've played the game and beaten it, please do not tell me anything. I don't want spoilers. But aside from Unity, I'm also looking forward to watching Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which is going to take place in Victorian London. And from what little I know from the game, I guess we're controlling at least 2 assassins, the brother-sister team of Jacob and Evie. But I'm pretty sure that for now, Jacob will probably be the default, because aside from Aveline, we haven't really played a female assassin in any of the main games. So I guess this concludes this particular pre-afterthoughts for Rogue. I just wanted to get my thoughts out there and share them with you guys. As usual, I will have links to my DeviantArt and fanfiction.net pages in the description, so you can check out anything that catches your fancy. I'm also kind of debating writing a crossover between Assassin's Creed Rogue with my own stories. Basically the same sort of deal. I just send my proxy to the world of Rogue, because I'm kind of interested to seeing how Phoenix would actually interact with Shay, and I'm also thinking about sending her forward in time a little bit so that she has an encounter with Connor. I have a feeling Connor would probably understand her, given what she is, being a chimera. And I know some people might not really like the idea of me introducing what's essentially a mythological horse into the world of Assassin's Creed, but we're looking at a world where mythical items can do terrible things, like generate earthquakes, break people's minds. I think the world can handle an unnatural creature like her. Plus, her contact would only be limited to Shay and Connor if I choose to go through with this. Basically, when I say she's my proxy, she's my way of getting into these worlds and actually interacting with these characters in a way that's different than just playing the game. Because when you're playing the games, you're more or less guiding these characters, but you don't really get to interact with them yourself because you're doing the interacting with everybody else. I don't quite know exactly how I would pull this off, but the main idea I had with Phoenix meeting Connor would be her getting shot by something, and he comes across her, but he doesn't want to kill her as he probably would have done otherwise if he had come across a wounded deer. I'm pretty sure he would put it out of its misery. It would have to be different with Phoenix because she really cannot afford to die in any other world but her own. Even though her appearances in other worlds aren't really canon to my All-World Chronicles, the one thing that I have protecting her from death in another world is the fact that if she dies in another world, it would tear across all the other universes that she came into contact with. It would blow chunks out of their history, pretty much. Not to mention the damage it would do to her own home world. But I guess that's just fanciful thinking. I have some idea about how she would interact with Shay. Either he would get a report from Haytham of some strange creature and be sent to check it out and come across her that way, or she may even end up being shipwrecked somewhere. Phoenix is able to take either her true form as a chimera, or she can take on a false human form. Her false form would probably be a little bit more difficult to pull off in another world like that because her hair is unnatural. Because of her status as a chimera, her hair does not turn silver when she turns into a human to reflect her fur. Instead, it takes on the colors of the armored plates on her back. It's because her ability to transform is imperfect. It's been corrupted because of the alchemy that was used to splice her together in the first place. So unless she came up with a good way of dyeing her hair to brown and hiding all those unnatural colors, she'd be more likely to go unnoticed as her true form. One thing that my unicorns are gifted in is not being seen if they don't wish to be seen. So that's pretty much just a couple plot bunnies that are jumping around in my head. I don't know if they'll ever come to light at all. That just is it with me. I'll get an idea and then it never comes about. So I believe next video I will actually talk about Five Nights at Freddy's. I have never played the series. I can never play the series because jump scares are not good for my mental well-being. As a matter of fact, when I first came across the animatronics themselves, I had some pretty bad issues at night. Not to the extent of Slenderman, but I'll save that for another video. So until then, this is Jana signing out, and I will see you probably tomorrow since I'm off tomorrow. So I look forward to it. When I get around to talking about Five Nights, it'll probably just be about who my favorite animatronic is, my thoughts on the lore, and probably just whether or not I agree with some of the theories out there. So until next time, I will see you then. This is Jana signing out.